Welcome to New York's Divine Channel. You can have it all, where we are covering an important topic today that is so near and dear to my heart. And that is the topic of turning despair and anxiety into happiness and excitement in your life. I'm here to tell you that I can share this from my own experience, as well as many other people's experiences that I have met and worked with along my journey of owning an agency and an academy for personal and business development, working with my divine channeling gifts and abilities. And, when you're able to channel somebody else's higher self and their guardian angels and guides, you learn a lot, because the recipe for success for that individual is given from their higher self, their oversoul that knows their past, their present, and their future. And so each and every time that you're doing a channel, you're getting the recommendations of exactly what they need to do in order to clear the anxiety, the despair, and turn it into success and happiness. So along my journey, over the last 12 years specifically, I have learned so much about this topic. Up until the age of 42, I never even understood depression or anxiety on a personal level because I had not gone through it personally. And I am now here to tell you that I did go through it for about 6 or 7 years, from 42 to 49, and have had it cleared for the last 6 years now successfully, and have been going higher and higher with success and happiness each and every year. And when you can hold something and not go back and not regress backward for 5 years, you have accomplished a lot. And instead of regression, go forward and go higher and ascend higher and higher. So we're going to be talking about how to take your despair and anxiety and turn it into the very best tool that God gave you for ascension in your life and for success, for happiness, because you can turn your anxieties, your fear, your sadness into your best life ever. And I tell you that from the deepest parts of my heart and from the highest parts of my soul, that it is the catalyst. It is a huge gift. And if you allow your sadness and your anxiety on days that you have it, and sometimes we have it for months and years, depending on what you've been going through in your life, if you allow your feelings, your emotions, the good ones, the bad ones, and the ugly ones to guide you, you will hit your most wildest success levels and happiness levels that you've ever imagined possible for yourself. Now, here's how it works. It is your communication to your roadmap for success in your life. So these feelings, these emotions of despair and anxiety, they are your tour guide to bring you to your joyful, happy place. So each and every time you're experiencing these feelings, which might be every minute of every day for a while, I know for myself, that's what I experienced. If you let them guide you, if you let them be your roadmap to success, then you will get there, and you will not even believe the levels of ascension, of happiness and joy and bliss that you will be able to achieve by honoring and respecting those feelings and emotions. So number one on your list here, in order to turn your anxiety and despair into success and happiness, is let your emotions be your guide, your teacher, your roadmap to success, and respect them. Thank them, have love and gratitude for them, and thank them for coming in and letting you know that these are the things that you need to work on right now in order to create success and joy and happiness in your life. Because here's how it works. Your soul, your oversoul, your higher self, all the same thing, that we're talking about the same thing here. Your oversoul, which is your, it knows your past, it knows your present, and it knows your future. And that's your higher self, your oversoul. It knows what you contracted for in this lifetime, obviously, because it's you. And sometimes our conscious self does not know or remember. And many times, and I bet some of you can relate with me, we wonder why we're even here and how come we're here, because we don't feel that we came here to be so sad and so depressed and such a failure. And I say that because when we're in our place of despair and anxiety, we usually think of ourselves as a failure. We usually look at ourselves as someone who didn't meet the expectations of ourselves, or maybe our mother, our father, our grandmother, or maybe society in general, our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers, whomever, but we feel that we're not meeting certain expectations. Now, remember, the only expectations that matter are your own, and you're the one that's having a fight with yourself, most likely. And you've decided that your expectations for yourself have not been met. Okay. And that is okay. That's actually a good thing. However, the thing that can go wrong or go awry is when you think that you have no purpose of being here, no reason to be here, you're not a contributing member to the community or to society, and that you should just exit and leave. That's where you've gone wrong. So let me correct your thinking. So number 2, your soul is simply letting you know, listen, you signed up for some things and you're not focused on them right now, and you're not doing what's necessary to get there. Now, we might think we're doing what's necessary, and we might think that all of our efforts have come to no avail. And we might think that, well, I've been working hard and I've been putting all my love and energy and efforts toward it. And here, yet, after all of my good efforts, I'm still stuck over in this other place that's not the place that I know I'm supposed to be. Well, guess what? Have some patience and get rid of the perfectionism. And you're probably suffering from perfectionism. If you're dealing with despair and anxiety, it's very highly likely that you are suffering with perfectionism. So if you would like to work on that aspect of yourself, then for number 2 on your list, get rid of the perfectionism. And I have a handout, it's about 12 or 13 pages long, that I can email you. And it's a worksheet. It trains you. It's a guide. It helps you to completely understand perfectionistic thinking, behaviors, how it looks. And there's like a little multiple choice boxes to fill in and check for what applies to you. So it has a worksheet in there as well. And then it has training on how to clear it. I just reviewed it last night with my son, actually, because we called ourselves out on a few things. And as I was reading it, I was recognizing, oh, I still have a few little things to clear up on here. I caught myself before I wreck myself, right? Because we can start going down a slippery slope of despair and anxiety when we are being too tough on ourselves, where we are failing to try to attempt something and procrastinating, or we have the ability to not try because we don't know that we're going to be adequate enough. So we have a fear of failure or a fear of being adequate enough. So we procrastinate and we don't even try. We don't even attempt. That is not fair. Life is not about perfection. It's about trying. It's about trying a new way, trying a new style. Now, I'm still inside of number 2 here. Realize something. Life and being alive takes energy. Okay. I used to use the word work first, that life takes work. However, it's such an overused word that I think it would be better, and I think many of us would resonate even better if we just said life takes the use of energy. We're going to have to use energy, even if it's the energy to roll out of bed and go to the bathroom. You still have to walk to the bathroom, sit on the toilet, And then you have to walk into the kitchen and find something to eat. And in some cases, if you're going through despair and anxiety, you might even be forcing yourself to eat something because you just know that you need to. And that takes energy. It takes work because you have to talk yourself into it, open up the cupboards and the fridge and say, okay, what could I possibly figure out how to talk myself into eating today? Because if you're in a place of depression, oftentimes that is how people feel, because they cut themselves off from any kind of joy, any kind of happiness, any kind of tasting good, feeling good, because you're not letting yourself feel good. You're not letting yourself experience any kind of happiness or joy or bliss. We start cutting everything off and we'll eat bland foods. And sometimes we can't even taste the foods anymore. If you've gone through enough lengths of time of clinical depression, you no longer even taste the foods. So you don't, like, eating is just a chore. Okay, well, guess what? Get busy doing your chores. And you have to have at least 3 things on your to-do list each day that will take you a few more steps forward to where you're supposed to be. Now, let's go back to how anxiety and despair are your catalyst to succeeding wildly. So let me help you make the connection again. So now we're going to go to number 3. Because we already did number 2, which is to put energy forward and do what you need to be doing to take care of yourself and to accomplish your goals and your dreams, because life does take energy. It does take work. You're going to have to use your energy for something in order to remain alive. I'm reverting back to number 2 again before we go to number 3. You're going to have to use your energy for something to remain alive. You cannot remain alive and not use energy. So now what your despair and anxiety is doing is it's telling you where to put your energy, where to put your efforts, and where to put your work. You know why? Here's number 3. Understand that the things you're mad at yourself for, that you think you've fallen short of and that you're a failure, those are the things that your soul is telling you that you have to do in order to be happy. And so your soul is waking you up. And sometimes when we don't listen to our higher self, we don't listen to our inner guidance, and we've either shut it off or started ignoring it or don't believe in it, or we mistake it for something else like the devil or negativity, or we mistake it for maybe just that we're delusional. Some of us think we're psycho and delusional because we see these vast images of these incredible lives. And then we look at our real life and we're like, absolutely, how is this going to happen? And you're thinking there is a lot of areas here of disparity between reality and where I'm supposed to be in order to be happy. And so that makes us feel like, how are we ever going to get there? The energy is going to be magnitude, and it's just, it feels impossible when you see such a big difference between where you are right now and where you're ascending to. Well, get into the idea that daily energy is going to get you there. But now remember, I'm putting that word there for a reason. You have to follow the steps that will get you to where you're supposed to be going. And you have to put patience in there. Patience is a huge part of the equation. It's a huge part of the recipe. So if we were writing down the recipe for chocolate chip cookies, we would have to put in there some sort of flour, whether we used almond flour or we used wheat flour or oat flour, or there's a million different flours, right? And then we would have to put in there something that would make them rise, whether it's the baking soda or whether we use amaranth or some of these other fancy ingredients that we can use to make it rise. Baking soda is sometimes used in place of it. And then we would have to put a little bit of vanilla flavoring, and there's got to be at least a little teeny bit of sugar. Usually we can cut it out and still like it if you like things that are not real sweet. I usually don't put much in there. However, if we don't put the we can kind of play around with those ingredients. You know, some of us put honey in there instead of white cane sugar, the sugar cane sugar. Some of us will put agave in there. Others will put syrup in there. Some of us, we have all these different things we might put in there, right? But one thing is for sure, we cannot forget the chocolate chips, even if we put carob chips in there, because there's all the different things we can switch out for the chocolate. Carob is the most popular one, right? But we cannot call them chocolate chips if we don't put the chocolate chips or chocolate chip cookies. We can't call them chocolate chip cookies without the chocolate chips in there. Okay. Well, guess what? In a area of your life that you want to achieve, whether it's your love life, because maybe you're having despair and anxiety because you still haven't met the love of your life, or you lost the love of your life and the relationship looks to be over or is definitely over, or you've never found the love of your life and that just you feel empty because of that. You feel like a failure, like what did I do so wrong that I don't even have a companion? That might be your area. Another area might be money. Like, how in the world do I have this much money and I used to have that much money, and where did it all go, and how did I make such choices? Or why did I used to have a nice steady flow of income and now I don't? It could be your business success. Maybe your business was very successful at one time and now it's not. And it's just the changing of times. It's the changing of the way the economy works. It's the changing of the way business works and the way people are buying things and what they're looking for and what they want, need, and desire, what they're willing to invest their money. So it could be that area of your life. It could be the area of your body. Maybe you've gained a lot of weight. You look in the mirror and you're like, who in the world is that? That looks like my mother. That doesn't look like me. Or that looks like somebody else, but definitely not me, because all my life I was a size whatever. I was a size 8, 10, and now I'm a size 16. And what am I looking at? And you don't feel beautiful anymore. And you don't feel that you can love yourself, that you lost your body. Or maybe you have a health problem, a very serious health problem, and you have to work incredibly hard just to have a halfway decent day. It takes so much energy for you to just be able to breathe and to be able to get from A to B and eat some food and drink some liquids. And that is like climbing Mount Everest for you. Okay, so we've all got our thing. Well, guess what? Then we look at we're not where we want to be. And so then many of us go into despair and anxiety. Well, that's because our soul is telling us you need to focus your energy on getting there, because that's how you're going to achieve your soul mission and enjoy bliss. Because did you know that once you make yourself happy by achieving that thing that feels so difficult, that feels so far reached, so far away, once you achieve it, you will be on track for your soul mission to be accomplished. Yay! Don't you love how our soul has it all wired together? Because when we incarnate into this life, our soul knows that we have certain soul lessons that we have to achieve, and then we have certain soul contracts that we have signed up to accomplish while we're here, which is our contribution back to the world. It's our contribution to God, at God's kingdom, to build the world into a better and happier, more loving place that's more kind and considerate. And we all have our work cut out for us. Well, guess what? If we're just doing what makes us happy, then we will make the world more loving and caring. Because did you know it's a lot easier to be happy and kind and caring when life is going in the way we know we're supposed to be living it? I've been able to be on both sides of the equation, and for a long enough period of time to really weigh out the differences, because I went through that despair and anxiety, and I feel like, you could have labeled it for clinical depression. And that was because myself and my family were so far away from where I was shown that we were going in life. And it felt like all the energy that I had put, because I had put so much energy, so much time, and I felt like we just weren't anywhere near it, and that we were still falling in a free fall down instead of ascending up. And I couldn't figure out how to stop the free fall. And nothing I was trying, all the time, all the energy, all the money that I was trying wasn't stopping the free fall. And that is how I got into that place. Not to mention, I had several crises happen in a row where my baby sister, who wasn't a baby, she was 33 and I was 35, almost 20 years ago, had passed away. And then I went through a divorce. My son was having medical things going on at the time. He's very, very healthy and awesome now. However, that was a very hard time to have your whole family fall apart. My mother was really disconnected after her daughter passed, and so was my father. And then he died a little bit later after that. And so it was like I lost all my family members. And if you lose all your family members, it's very, very challenging, right? And so I just felt like, what is going on? This isn't the life that I signed up for. I didn't seek understanding. I was just mad about it. Well, here's number 4. Go into seeking understanding. Ask your soul and ask God, why is it in divine order for this to all be going on? Because, by the way, it all is in divine order. Everything is always in divine order. It's always in divine timing. And I know that one's a hard one to swallow when you feel like it's all messed up in your life. So let's just go for a minute here and say, okay, Camille, I'm going to buy into this storyline for a little while and I'll investigate it. Okay. So if you're willing to, and raise your hand if you're on video, are you willing to buy into the storyline in order to experiment or to investigate it for yourself? Yes? Okay, good. So in this investigation, I want you to ask your higher self and your spiritual counsel, all your guardian angels and guides, ask God, go directly to God and say, why? And then you're going to have your list of things that you feel are completely off target, far, far away from where you're supposed to be and not making you happy. Okay. Have your list of things that are not making you happy. In fact, take a minute and jot down at least the top 5 things right now. So go ahead and just put down the top 5 things that are not making you happy about your life right now. And inside of that place of being able to know what those things are, you're going to find the magic. So take another minute. Okay. Now you can do more of this later on, but at least you have probably 1 or 2 or 3 things. I know you have at least 1. All right. Now I want you to write down, I want you to ask God, ask all your guardian angels and guides, your spiritual counsel, your higher self, which is your oversoul. Ask everyone, why would these things, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, or 4 or 5 things that are on your list, why would these things be in divine order and divine timing and be in perfect position where they're perfectly positioning me to succeed wildly? Because I'm going to tell you something right now. Since I've already been through it, 7 years of hell, I think it was 6 years of hell and 6 years of heaven I've lived in the last 12 years. I basically have 6 of each kind of living. And let me say this, it was very dramatic, the hell. And I'm so happy to be in the 6 years of heaven because it's also very dramatic and far more fun. However, I would have never experienced this had I not gone through that first 6 years. The only thing is I could have shortened it up. I didn't have to do it for 6 years. I'm going to tell you how to shorten it up so that you don't have to go through it for so long. All right, we're going to get there in a second. But I want you to now write down the first things that are coming to you, whether you're feeling it, seeing it, hearing it, knowing it, or if it's just sensing it. Even if it sounds crazy to you and it makes no sense, write down the things that are coming to you of why these would be in perfect order to get you where you're going, to your happiest, most best self, your most joyful life, to hit all your dreams and goals. I mean it, because when you hit all your dreams and goals, you're on soul mission. You're on track. Okay. So your soul is telling you, you're off track, lady. Let's get going. Put your energy over here. So if you're really like, I need to have my companion, I need my other half, then that's the thing that's holding you back, not only from your joy and your happiness, but also it's also holding you back from accomplishing your goals and your dreams, as well as your soul missions. That's your soul contract, what you signed up with God. Thank God that when we're on track and we're doing what we came here to do and what we signed up for to do, it'll bring us joy and bliss. Oh my God, thank God. If I had to come on here and tell you the bad news that you're going to be miserable while you're on track, I don't think anyone would show up for the TV show. And when I was being taught this by my trainers, I really had a hard time believing them. I thought that they were full of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs information, because it really didn't make sense to me. I just kept thinking, I think you're really, off track, lady, but I hope you're right. I just kept hoping that these people that were training me, and my teachers, my mentors, my healers, the people who I had hired to help me, I just kept praying and hoping that the things they were telling me were right, because I didn't see it in reality in my life yet. Okay. Because it takes some time. Okay. Who has at least one or two things down on if everything is in divine order and divine timing, and everything is perfectly positioning me to launch into my best self, my best life ever, and achieve all my goals and dreams, then this is why these things had to happen. These things had to happen, and I had to go through them in order to, it could have been in order to really appreciate it once I get it and not throw it away. How many of you have gotten what you want and then thrown it away? How many of you have married somebody and then divorced them? How many of you have had a great job and then decided to quit it, or to kind of take it for granted and not really show up on time or do a great job, and then you got fired? Or the company went out of business and you just lost your job because you were laid off, or it was closed down. And because it had a collective of bunch of people who weren't doing their job, if a lot of people aren't doing their job, the company could go out of business. I mean, it actually does matter if we do our job properly. You could really severely hurt a company. And then, you might think, oh, I'll get them back. But who are you getting back if you then lose your job because the company goes out of business? You're only hurting yourself when you don't give them your best, right? And give them a good attitude and really a fair shake at what you signed up to do for them, right? Okay, so how many of us had a lot of money and then we lost it because we didn't know how to manage it? All right. Well, I'll tell you what, if you have to wait long enough to get money again after you didn't manage it well, you're going to be managing it well the next time. How many people do you know that they had, like grandparents of ours that went through the Great Depression, and they were saving everything? They would not waste one teeny bit of food. They wouldn't waste one bit of clothing because they valued it, because they knew what it was like to have nothing. Do you know, I remember one of my teachers said to me, because I started succeeding wildly in my business and my income skyrocketed, and this was a while ago, quite a good while ago, and it's continued to. And one of my teachers, who was very hardcore, by the way, because when I tell you what she said, you're going to be like, wow, she said that. And I've found out that she was very right to say that. She said to me when I started skyrocketing and being very, very successful in my business, I'm really glad that you went through that phase where you had to be on Medicaid and food stamps for that short period of time, because now I know that you'll be safe to keep this money and you won't manage it wrong and lose it. And I thought when she said that, because I had just freshly started skyrocketing, that was kind of rude to say, because she was like, I'm really glad you went through that shitty time, is kind of like what she was saying. But I recognized, no, she was reminding me. She could have said it this way, but it probably wouldn't have caught my attention. Us people who are difficult and we are stubborn, we have to be hit over the head. And she knew I needed to be hit over the head. Okay. She knew Camille needs to be hit over the head. Wonk. So she said it the harsh way, and it did wake me up, because the nice way would have been, I hope you never forget where you came from, Camille. That would be the nice way. I hope you never forget where you came from. But would that have really connected 2 + 2 = 4 in my head of don't do it again? Don't mismanage your money. Don't mismanage your time. Do you know some people are not bad at managing their money? They're bad at managing their time, or they're bad at managing their self-care. That's the other one. And I will tell you, mine was self-care because I had started having a hard time loving myself because I felt like such a failure. Did you know that if you don't manage your self-care, you will go broke and be homeless? Okay. Just so you know. So it's not just about being able to manage money. It's about being able to manage your time. Because if you don't manage your time wisely, you'll go broke and be homeless too. So I don't think the words manage your money properly resonates for everybody. If you want more training on this, come to CamilleConti.com and then hit the tab Work with Camille. And when you hit the tab Work with Camille, you'll go in and you can sign up for a 1-hour session. It's $555, and you get a 1-hour free session after for consultation, where we're going to do a breakthrough session. We're going to do a roadmap for your success, and we're going to get you on track so that you can get there in much shorter than a huge 6-year period of time. So go to CamilleConti.com. You can also go to contact us and send me an email if you have some questions about this show, and we will take it further for your roadmap to success to get you out of your anxiety and despair and into your success and happiness. All